Hi, my name is Star Manili. This is my daughter Juliet. I'm the creator of the pianoforte method, and today we're going to spend a bit of time talking about the major scale book, which is a supplement to the pianoforte method and the way that I teach scales. And this book, I'll show you the cover. This book, I start with students when they arrive about midway through the pianoforte level 3. So somewhere from that sort of point when I feel that they're ready. And ready means that they have the physical technique to perhaps move in a scale pattern, and their ear is developed enough, and I just think that they're ready for that little bit of extra practice at home. So we're going to go through this just exactly as I go through it with students. Juliet's main instrument is violin, and so we haven't practiced this. We're just going to dive straight in, and she's going to be learning as authentically as we can the way a student would learn it. We'll do this whole series in little short videos that you can dip in and out of as you need to. So the very first page, I will show you this, is an example of the scale in solfa. When students arrive at level 3, they're really familiar and have had loads of practice singing the diatonic scale in solfa. So this is literally just a bit of a review, and we'll begin now just the way I teach it. So Juliet, this is the scale, the do, re, mi scale. You know that.
Yes.
Let's sing it together with our hand signs. Ready?
Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do.
Lovely, well done, very good. Now we can start a scale, that type of a scale, that pattern of sounds, the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, on any single note on the piano. So you choose one random note and I will play that pattern for you. Sure. So to play the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do pattern, the major scale pattern, it would just go like this. Choose a different one. Sure, and that's actually good. That's all right. And you can do it on any. For the sake of the video, we won't explore them all, but we could. We can make a scale on any single note. We are going to use the one that you just chose, which is C. So we're going to build a do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do scale starting on C. And I have these really lovely tiles which have all the solfa letters on them. They're made by a lovely company called Music Escapades, and so I want to give them a shout out because these are brilliant. All right, we're going to put do on C, and I will give you the rest.
Yay.
Do, re, mi.
I like this company. They like really colourful things.
Yes, they're very pretty. Fa, so, la.
They must have a very colourful,
T, colourful.
Like company.
Yeah, they must be a colourful company. I think they must be. Okay. All right, so we've laid out the solfa on the scale. So now let's have a think. If I play from do to re, do, re, we can see that in between there is another note. So the same thing happens from re to mi. Re, mi. There's a note in between. When there is a note in between, we call that a whole tone. So do, re, whole tone, re, mi, whole tone. Now mi to fa does not have one in the middle.
So it's called a semitone.
It's a semitone. She knows this from violin, so she is a bit a step ahead of the game. So from mi to fa is a semitone. So we can say that they're best of friends. They sit together. Mi, fa, semitone, fa, sol, whole tone, sol, la, whole tone. Where is the next semitone? There's one more in a major scale. Can you see it?
It's T and Do,
Exactly. So
but La and T are still a whole tone.
they're a whole tone, exactly. So T to Do is another semitone. Now, can you, if I play a whole tone together, two notes, and I play a semitone together, do you think they sound different?
Yes.
And how would you describe them? Really simply, how would you describe the way, there's no right or wrong answer, but how would you describe the way a whole tone sounds compared to the way a semitone sounds?
I think a semitone sounds like more quieter.
Okay.
And like a whole tone sounds rougher. Even maybe it's like maybe a whole tone can be higher than a semitone. I just feel like the sound sounds rougher for a whole tone.
Interesting. Okay, so we have whole tone, semitone, whole tone, semitone. So that's a semitone. This is also a semitone. So what's the pattern? Let's look. Whole,
Semi.
whole,
Semi.
Exactly. And no matter where we start our scales on the piano, we're going to follow that pattern and we're going to create that collection of sounds. Now, there's a few pages coming up that we're going to use, but not yet. We'll come back to them as we learn our scales. We'll do one more thing for this video. So then on page 15, we arrive. Page 16 shows it like this, but I'm going to jump straight to page 15, where it has the fingering laid out on a keyboard. So this is what we have created on the piano. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, so, sorry, I had a pencil here. Now, we do not have enough fingers to just play one of these at a time because there's too many. So we have to create special fingering patterns to help us play all of them. And you do know that a little bit. So I'm going to very quickly write in the fingering here. And then...
Are you or me?
Well, typically if we weren't in a hurry for this video, I would have you write it in. But I shall write it in now because I think that would be just a smidge quicker. Okay. All right. Okay, so I have written in the fingering. Typically, she would write it in. Now she's just going to play it. So Juliet, just choose one hand. We'll just do one hand first so you can have a demonstration. That sounds good. So now this is a good opportunity to correct our technique. So we have a nice heavy arm, a lovely curved finger. All right, go ahead and play just the C major scale with the right hand. Very good. So at this point, we would learn left hand, right hand, hands together. One more thing before we finish this video.
Yes.
If we take 3 notes out of the scale and play them in a pattern, and those notes are going to be do, mi, so, mi, do. Can you do that? Good. And I'm actually going to color in those circles. Do, mi, so. That is called a chord. And because the first note starts on this letter C, we're going to call it a C chord. We could also call it a do chord, I suppose, because it starts on do. And there's one other way we can call it, and that is by calling it a 1 chord. Why would we call it a 1 chord?
I don't know. Maybe because your first finger is on 1.
That's the answer that usually everyone gives because it's a really logical answer. But the correct answer is because C is the first note of the scale and it's the first note of the chord, we're going to call it a 1 chord. You can also start a chord on the next note, which is D. We would call that a 2 chord because it starts on the second note of the scale. Could also, I suppose, be called a re chord That makes sense?
Or do.
Well, do chord would be this one. This would be a re chord or a 2 chord.
Yes.
Yep. So to indicate a 1 chord in music, we use a funny Roman numeral like this. So that means 1 chord. So if you were going to play this scale, you would play it like this. For example, going up and then going down. And then if you wanted, you could play the chord at the end. And if you wanted, you could play it hands together. I mean, all the 3 notes together. Like that.
Can I try?
Of course you can. Very good. Excellent. Very good. She has done this a little bit before. We're not totally authentic. She's my most authentic demonstrator. All right. This will be the end of our first video, which I hope you enjoy. We will continue with learning the major scales in a series of videos coming up. Thank you.
Bye.